Good evening. It is December 16th, and we're doing Hour of Code Hawaii style tonight. And I am excited because we have several people on tonight that are going to share what they know about Hour of Code. We have a couple of schools who did a bang-up job with it. We're trying to get Steve Gunnell on. Steve? Because EL Intermediate got a grant to do Hour of Code, so we're hoping that we can get him on. And Steve, I sent a direct link to you via G+, so hopefully you can come on. So we'll go across the board and introduce everyone, ending with Evelyn. So Shane, if you would tell us who you are, please.
Hi, my name is Shane Asselstein. I'm the Curriculum and Technology Coordinator at Momilani Elementary. I've been teaching there for 10 years, and we're doing a big push on getting more technology into our classrooms.
Okay, Rachel?
Hi, I'm Rachel Armstrong. I'm a tech coordinator at Halikula Elementary. I've been there about, I think this is the 8th year. First year as a tech coordinator. Hi.
Okay, Michelle?
Hi, I'm Michelle Colt, and I'm also at Halikula Elementary School, and I'm a librarian.
Jody?
Hi, I'm the librarian at Kalama Intermediate, Jody Brown, and I have participated in Hour of Code at code.org, and I loved it.
Awesome. So we have 3 schools vying for sharing tonight. That's terrific. Holly?
Hi, I'm Holly Gates. I'm the librarian at Haiku Elementary School.
Great. And we, last but not least, we have Evelyn Zayas, who's going to tell us about herself and also tell us how she is involved with Hour of Code. So go ahead and introduce yourself, Evelyn, and tell us about how you're involved.
Hi, thank you, Linda. My name is Evelyn Zayas. I live on Maui. I've been a technology and engineering teacher at Kihei Charter High School for about 8 years now. I also teach online and also do a lot of teacher PDs. So fortunately, I applied for and was chosen to be one of the code.org K-5 affiliates. About 95 people throughout the U.S. were chosen. In August, they took us to a very nice working weekend in Las Vegas for 2.5 days, and then they set us off free to put on workshops for teachers. And so far, I've put on 5 workshops, 3 on Oahu, and 1 here on Maui, and also looking to do one Molokai, another one on Oahu, and also another one here on Maui. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about them. The K-5 workshops are 6 to 7 hours, and the teachers are introduced to and work with the code.org courses 1, 2, and 3. And kind of the goal of them is to have teachers work with and get to feel comfortable with the computer science education in their classroom, and work with a vocabulary. We're also we do in the workshops do role modeling so that the teachers can experience and also teach some of the unplugged activities. Those are the activities that if there's no computers available, still to talk about and work with kids and doing computational thinking type of activities. So they've been a lot of fun. So that's about it.
And you trained a couple of schools with there on the panel.
Yeah, the Halikula, the Momilani, did one at Punahou, doing one next month at Iolani. So yeah, some of the people on the panel were the participants in the workshop. So hopefully they have some good words to say about the workshop.
What about the workshop, Michelle and Rachel and Shane? Any comments on that?
Oh, yeah, sorry for that pause. I was struggling for my mute button, Evelyn. The workshops were fantastic. And, I think what was really neat is that we had a pretty large number of teachers who came out on a Sunday, in their own personal time. And I loved how the workshop was structured and how Evelyn had everything set to go. And Code.org has just done a great job putting resources together. So not only do we understand what tools are out there for us as teachers, but we know how to differentiate, and like Evelyn was saying, how to use the unplugged activities. I liked the teachable moments, although it was a little tricky for me to follow some of them. I think, because I'm not trained in this, so I'm still learning alongside the students, but it's a fantastic training. So thank you, Evelyn. And if anybody out there lives on Oahu, they should definitely sign up for that Iolani workshop.
When is that going to happen, that Iolani workshop?
Well, it turns out Iolani workshop is on February 14th. So it does end at 2:30 in the afternoon, so there is time to take your loved one out to that special dinner. So, so thank you everybody for the sign-ups. I'll have some special Valentine's treats for you just for coming to the workshop on a Valentine's Day.
Cool, very cool. Steve Quinnell has joined us, I believe. Are you there, Steve? I see your picture. Okay, everyone's muted. Hi, Steve.
Yeah, I was muted because
yes.
Sometimes I tend to breathe loudly. So.
Great.
I learned that on whatever the DOE uses for their webcasts. What's that thing called? I forget what it's called, and they always tell me to mute myself. So now I'm used to it. Yes, WebEx.
Is it WebEx? Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Well, we're going to have Halikula and Momilani talk about their what they did during Hour of Code Week, and then we'll have you speak as well, Steve. I know you have lots to share. Okay, so who wants to go first, Halikula or Momilani? Nobody.
Go for Rachel.
Go, Rachel.
I wasn't going to go first because you guys all laughed earlier. I was just going to wait for you, but okay. All right, hi. Well, it kind of started actually even before, I guess last year we started with our, Michelle had got us all involved in doing Hour of Code. That was our first year of doing it, and the teachers were signed up for accounts that the kids were in, and we noticed how engaged the students were with coding. So we really wanted to continue that, that engagement as well as the problem solving that goes into coding. So Michelle had a club going last year, and I wasn't part of that, but those kids actually got to advance a little bit more, and they started using Scratch. But this year, Michelle and I are running it together, and so I'm going to actually screen share and just show you a couple things that we've done with coding. By no means are we experts, but we're working on it. So here we go. Okay, do you guys see that, or?
Yes, creative computing.
Okay, so basically this is a Google presentation where I've been keeping a running record of the lessons with the club. The unfortunate thing is we only get them every Friday, and kind of what's happened is there's been times where we've been out either presenting at conferences or had sick kids or whatever, and so we've missed a handful of sessions that we had, but even having them every Friday we've noticed isn't enough time. But basically I'm just going to run you through real briefly the lessons we've had a chance to do with the kids. We got to give them a survey and just on the first meeting to kind of see where they were at with coding or what experience they had with it and what experience they have with Scratch. And because we're only getting them again, only once every week and not even all the time, we decided that we were just going to focus on one program instead of doing everything, and again we went with Scratch. So this was the results from that. We had our club goals or whatever, and then I gave them some questions to think about because I think that kids nowadays, they use technology a lot, and so again the goal is that we get them creating with it and not just consuming it. So I asked them questions a lot and we had a lot of discussion, but the hour flew by most of the time. So this was just getting them a little bit excited about it. I was showing them the possibilities of what projects they could, sorry, I got background noise now, showing them the possibility of what projects they could make with Scratch. And then we signed up, and we kind of did a little bit of the interface or the basics together, and I had them look at tutorials, which some of them didn't end up doing at home. Again, if I was in a class and doing it again, I might have them do the tutorials there in school. But anyways, basically the things that we made are all through this. I'm just going to kind of scroll through it. I created a studio in Scratch, and that's where they put their projects, and I'll show you that in a second. And this was looking at the tutorials. This one was a pretty cool one. It was taking 10 blocks and what could they make with just those 10 blocks. And so each child kind of came up with something different. Some didn't finish in the amount of time. We actually ended up taking more than that 15 minutes. But that was kind of a neat challenge. We had some visitors come and visit the club, these lovely ladies right here. And they came on a day when I actually did an unplugged activity. And basically all these lessons I just modified and adapted from a creative computing. Some Harvard graduates got together and wrote a curriculum, and it's actually linked up at the top of this presentation. So I just took some of what they had in there. I really would have loved to do it dead on because it really follows the engineering design process, but we didn't have that time to make like an ideal journal and get in critique groups. So from the time we had, we kind of used it mainly with just focusing on the coding. But this one was pretty fun because the kids had to look at, it's kind of what Evelyn took us through, you know, it's a different type of unplugged activity where they looked at a dance and then they had to, the coders or the programmers had to write out, you know, a pseudocode for it to tell the robots what to do. And what we ended up finding out is this was actually way more difficult than we thought because if you're looking at having these robots actually dance, and you see how they're turned away from the screen so they can't see what the person on the projector is doing, it turns out that if we were truly programming a robot, you know, it would also have to account for rhythm. By the way, I'm talking a lot, so just stop me if you need to. But anyhow, that was really fun. I think the kids really enjoy the unplugged activities as well, and I think it kind of ties it all in. Takes them off the computer for a little bit and shows them that, you know, coding is actually in everything and not just on a computer. Anyways, they created a project of choice, and then the next week was really cool because their partners got to come in and remix it, so that was really fun. We looked at a couple debugging experiences, and from there we created some projects to share during the Hour of Code week. And what I was trying to do, and Michelle and I were trying to do, and we were at the end of our club, so it was kind of a rush. But what we were trying to do was get them to create something that showed some standards in it as well, so teachers would see that coding can be done inside the classroom and actually use content. So here I took language arts standards for 5th graders, and I went ahead and put those in to have them make Scratch projects that were either using an idiom, a metaphor, a simile, or, you know, synonyms or antonyms. So that's pretty much kind of where we started, and then Evelyn had come in, I think, somewhere around the middle of this and had done her workshop with us, which was really neat because then, again, that's so easy for any teacher because the curriculum is right there. But how we celebrated last week was Michelle's ideal more, because at first I was just going to have the kids share their projects, and then she said, well, why don't we do, because we've been doing a little bit, you know, beyond just code.org, she said, why don't we have the kids lead a hangout? And so we had the kids, I made an event here, and the kids actually led a hangout, the coding club, and they and some 1st graders shared what they've been doing and kind of gave people out, you know, out in the world steps on how to do some of the things they're doing. So that was really cool. Unfortunately, for those of you that watched it, and I'm loading it right here on this tab, it's kind of funny because newbie that I am to Hangouts, you know, I forgot to unmute it. So 2 minutes in, so you'd have to fast forward about 2 minutes in, and then you get to start seeing the action. But that's about what we've done with coding so far. I could try to click play on this. Do you want me to play a bit of it and see if the sound works, Linda?
Sure.
Okay. Let's see. This is probably where I was apologizing. Sorry about that for everyone out there watching. Technical difficulties. Do you guys hear it or no?
Yes.
Oh, you do. Okay. I'm gonna fast forward
but not directly. I think it's through your.
Oh, it's through my headphones?
I think so.
Well, I won't play it, but I'll kind of scroll through and just show. It was really neat because then the kids stood there and they showed their projects. And this one was one they created about the school. And I think I can actually play that one, and it should come through on the Hangout because they played it on their Hangout. And what was even neater, though, is that after they shared their projects a little bit and what we've been doing with Scratch, we had a first grade class come in, and they shared what they're doing with Codable. And so that was pretty neat because then we got to see it from a different grade level perspective as well. So that's pretty much what we've done, and I do want to share because props to Holly Kula, so I want to share the project really quick that the kids made. So let me go in and see if I can get that. All right, hopefully you'll hear this and not the Kratts that's playing behind me on PBS. My son's watching his show, The Kratt Brothers. So here, let's hope that you'll hear this one and not that. Tell me if you guys don't hear it, okay?
Okay.
Welcome to Holly Kula Elementary School. Our school is located on Schofield Barracks in Waukesha, Hawaii. We are on the island of Oahu.
Hey Evan, did you know these facts about Holly Kula? Our school was built in 1959. Means service grades preschool to grade 5, and students are 90% military dependent.
Cool facts. Right now, our school is under construction. It should look like this by 2016. Holly Kula's vision is to explore, discover, create, and share.
Come visit us at Holly Kula Elementary, where eagles soar.
Really neat.
Okay.
Really neat.
So that's kind of and I was talking fast, but that's the way I am. But that's kind of the extent of what we've done so far is, you know, we've done the Hour of Code tutorials with the kids. I had a couple kids last year that were really into it and they wanted to go ahead. One of the boys made an app last year. He is pretty advanced for a 5th grader. Not that others could not do it, you know, but he was very interested in it. So that was like a passion of his. And then we've done Scratch. I really liked, after Evelyn's workshop, seeing that could kind of build up towards the kids, you know, fluency in Scratch. We haven't quite got to JavaScript or HTML or anything like that, but I did have one student in Coding Club he actually went ahead and had done Code Academy, but the thing there is you have to be 13 or older, so they'd have to have parental permission, but he had taught himself. He'd gone through all the tutorials and taught himself stuff, so pretty neat stuff and still learning it, but becoming an expert at Scratch. Cool. So now we had put Scratch Junior on the iPad, so that should be pretty neat. I put it on my son's as well, and he likes Codable, but he actually started trying Scratch Junior a little bit too. He said that one's all right. He likes Minecraft better though, so that's a good segue to Shane's. But I don't know if Michelle wants to add anything in too, because she was helping out in this too, and she's done a lot with coding at our school as well.
I think I just wanted to add a couple things. One thing that Rachel and I are still struggling with a little bit is how to spread coding, you know, beyond just that club. Like she mentioned, we're hoping to integrate it into content areas. And what's challenging, all of the emphasis on testing and things, it's hard to find time. So Rachel and I have come up with some lunchtime ideas, and then also every other Friday at the end of the week, we're going to be pulling students in grades 2, 3, and 4 who really took to coding, because what we saw is there were a few students who just took off with it. All of our students had logins for the code.org site, and their teachers were really impressed with how they raced through the different levels. And again, just like last year, what we really love too is seeing that peer-to-peer collaboration. Oh, shoot.
That's great. That Hangout that you showed us, you're going to be putting in the show notes, right, Rachel, so people can watch it?
Okay, but they need a
show notes.
Yeah, you already put it in. Okay, they need a fast forward about 2 minutes. They can just go 2 minutes, 10 seconds to miss out on my apologies too. I can't believe I was a little upset, and Michelle just looked at me because I turned to her and I like whispered, I had them on mute. I couldn't believe I did it. But you know, it happens because I had told the kids if you make a mistake or mess up, just roll on with it, and then come to find out their teacher made the mistake. But you know, it happens. So it's
That's
okay.
a fantastic little add-on to. Did other schools participate, or just that was more like a broadcast, or how did that work? The Hangout.
Yeah, I think it was more like more news. We only had the first graders actually join us, but I put it out on all my social media. I know a bunch of people said they were going to watch. I don't know if they watched or not. I mean, I didn't go back and look at any of that. I think you can look, right, to see if people watched or not, but I wasn't trying to be super spy and see. But a lot of people said maybe or yes to the event, so hopefully, hopefully they got something out of it.
Well, a lot of times it'll people will watch it afterwards, and enjoy it, kind of like our show. A lot of people, I know most people, watch it afterwards. Fantastic. Any questions of the Halikula gang? Really neat. And I agree with you, Michelle. It's kind of hard to integrate it, go beyond the code, the club. But that's so great that you're doing the club. Is that club all year round?
We're thinking about kind of switching it up a little bit, so it might turn into more of a makers club, computational thinking, and there's still space for coding. But Rachel and I have lots of things we want to try, so we're still discussing.
That's fantastic.
So little time.
Yes, so many things, but combining sounds great. Then you can, put a little bit of everything. That's what I like to do. Okay, Shane, you're IW next to share.
Right. I feel so underprepared, as I said. I mean, Rachel has a beautiful presentation, and wow, she is an overachiever.
She is.
Shane, we can't all be Rachel, Shane.
This is true. This is true. This is true.
Oh, I met with you.
So yeah, we did a lot of similar things as far as we did Hour of Code last year. It was more or less done by myself. Some teachers, gave me their time, but weren't willing to just give in and apply it themselves. So this year we got a little more teachers involved and on board. I actually had quite a few of them teach their own lesson, and I was just strictly there for support, which was nice. But I agree with Michelle. What they couldn't see, and maybe this is something for Evelyn to think about, is they couldn't see that connection between I've got to teach my math and my reading and my socializing and my science. How can I have time to teach this? And that's not good. And that's kind of was my point with the the Hawaii Public Radio thing that they came to was, we're seeing it in this Hour of Code, but I'd like to see it happen more often. Not just once a year. It's just something we've got to work on, I guess. Hopefully, give us 4 or 5 years, and our 3 schools with YAO, well, now we'll be in there, and we'll be every day doing coding, hopefully. So we'll never know. We did, again, a lot of Evelyn's Hour of Code courses. We tried out a lot of events. I tried to have the kids do both offline and offline events in that I actually got the full hour for each grade level, which was kind of nice. It wasn't the 45 minutes of code that some teachers are willing to give. So we were able to do both an offline and an online, which is great. Some of the lower L students, they started with FOOS, which was good. The kids were interested in that one. We moved into Lightbot in some of the older grade levels. Combat Code, which somebody at first was kind of like, "Are you sure we should do this? It's fine. It's not terrible. It's not that bad." And then, of course, what our 6th graders did, which was the Minecraft EDU and Computercraft EDU. So I have not a presentation, but I have a world to show, Rachel. So so I'll screen share mine, and you might want to, if anybody kind of gets dizzy with motion, then you might want to, see what you can do.
I do.
Okay. So what was great about this was I actually had a couple of students come to me and say, can we redesign the Hour of Code activity from last year, which was more looked like bowling lanes than anything. And they just went through the series of activities. There was about 7 of them. They redesigned them based on, was the challenge last year too hard? So they added steps. As we mentioned earlier, I was telling everybody that they, after seeing some of the hour of code activities, they saw how they broke it down to very simple steps to lead to a more of a challenging activity. So this is the world that we ended up creating instead of the lanes. And each of these is its own tower. Each student gets their own tower to go into. And so they would enter their tower here, grab a turtle, grab a pickaxe, and the directions for the first activity. And this thing is, there's this thing in Google blocking my toolbar so I can't see. So, okay, here we go. They would place their turtle down. This is the interface for Computercraft EDU. So what we focused on were these top 12 commands. Horizontal commands, vertical commands, placing commands, and digging commands. So then they would just take their disk, put it in here. I already have a program, of course, and they would run it. Now, some of the new features for Minecraft EDU and Computercraft that they've added is this ability to remote control this turtle. I can actually shrink it now and now tell it to go forward. So it becomes more of a robot now than just a straight program, which is pretty amazing for the beginners to learn how to program this stuff and count and that kind of thing. So yeah, so we spent, let's see, we spent an hour and a half on this, I guess, with the 6th graders, and the challenges go from just basic movement forward and up and down to all 13 levels of this. I don't know why I picked 13, unlucky number, but 13 levels of this where they've got to build bridges across it, all in one program. They had to navigate this. This is one of the student-created activities. They had to actually program their turtle in here to turn on these lamps. So it had to go through this entire tunnel, turning on all the lamps. They loved the new design of the building because they felt like, oh, I'm getting higher than this person or that person, you know, the competition. They could see each other moving in the other buildings across from them. They were separated into groups of 4. To the very top tower of the tower was to build a house. They had to actually use this spot here to program Turtle to build a house. So it turned out to be a really awesome activity for them, and you know, a lot of the kids. I have a video which I haven't been able to post up yet, but I had a video of one of the kids going, "Come on, come on, come on, come on," and then right at the end screamed out loud when he actually got it to do what he wanted to do. So it kind of captures the whole experience of the room. And my admin actually came in at one point was, "Oh my gosh, they're so noisy." Yeah, but every single one of them was focused on what they were doing. They were just so excited and so engaged in this that, you know, to her it kind of seemed a little bit like maybe it was noise. I didn't think so, but so yeah, so that's kind of what we did and what we focused on. We're looking at our STEAM camp coming up in January, where we're going to have kids for 4 hours a day program games in Kodoo, and they're going to have 12 hours to create a game over the course of 3 days, and at the end we're going to have testers try it out and see what kind of games they created. So we're taking that one step further, and then plans to integrate the code.org courses over the next probably the next 2 quarters. Somehow we're going to try to fit them in, of course on my time, not on the teacher's time, but some is better than none, right? I mean, I'd rather take that than not have it at all. So yeah.
So Shane, the STEM workshop in January, is that that first week of before school resumes, or is that during regular school?
No, it's going to be the 5th, the 6th, 7th, and 8th, and then
okay. Yeah. And you're doing this for your Momilani students?
Yeah. It was just a school-oriented thing, and then we're not even taking everybody. We limited each of the sections. We did 5 sections, and mine is the only game design one. The other ones are things that pertain to science standards in that grade level.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, we just did a first come, first serve. I will say that mine filled up the fastest somehow. I don't know how, but
I wonder why.
Apparently video game design is pretty important to them. So yeah.
That's really neat. Did you find that the kids who really love Minecraft are the ones who excelled at this the coding version, or the what you did during Hour of Code, or did you find it was students who are more thinkers?
It's interesting because we had a little bit of both. I mean, I think that because we've done computer craft before, they've seen turtles before, like our 5th and 6th graders, for instance. They caught on to a lot of the code.org programming faster than some of them. But I had a couple of students who've never even played, a lot of Minecraft with us. They don't join the morning club. They don't have any of that kind of experience, but they really could understand counting steps, counting turns, programming in that sense, right? They understood what they were supposed to do. And those kids were the ones that they were thankful, because I don't know if this was new, but maybe Evelyn, last year I don't remember the setting to have the program run faster once you hit play. And a lot of them had it now, so they were happy that they could turn it faster because they were programming so fast and they were just waiting and waiting. Yeah. But they still loved it. It was just that now that they could turn it up, they were blitzing through. So some of them were getting through 3 activities that I had planned for them already. So it was pretty awesome. I mean,
do you hear things ringing?
I do. Yeah.
Someone's
okay.
getting invited somewhere.
Shane, sorry, I have one more question. Just really quick, I missed something you said at the beginning. So what you were showing us was not Minecraft EDU. It was, or was it a world you created in Minecraft EDU, or a mod, or?
Yeah, this is Minecraft EDU is the base foundation of this. Of course, it's a world just like any other world I've created, but it uses a mod called ComputerCraft EDU.
Okay.
So the ComputerCraft EDU is what gives you the turtles and the discs and things like that. So, yeah, so it's really powerful. And actually, I just got noticed they're going to add even more to it to try to approach down to 3rd grade level with these kids with this same mod. So they're doing some redesign stuff.
Is that something that we can, if we have Minecraft EDU already, we can just download ComputerCraft EDU, or is that an extra? Oh, just download.
No, it's free. And then actually, if you run your server, I'm sure Michelle would, or I mean, Megan is not here, but Michelle, you can run the server too. The mod section, right? You can actually get it right from them because they're the same. The same person who created Minecraft EDU also created ComputerCraft EDU. So.
Okay. Hey, thank you very much.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Neat. A totally different experience from Halikula, so that's really cool. Yeah. Jody, tell us about your week of Hour of Code.
Well, actually, it was last year, and I didn't know what I was doing at all, but I just, I'd heard about it from you, from the Hangout on Air when you talked about it, and I immediately did it like the following week. And in addition to, I just opened up my computer lab and said, we're doing Hour of Code. And while I was there, some of the students said, hey, can we do Scratch and can we do all these other things? And absolutely. So I learned a lot, and I ended up getting kind of addicted to it on my own time, and I got to level 89. So I came back the next couple of days, and I was like, if anybody can help me get off level 89, let me know. And so we, helped each other work through it. And then that was also part of the impetus for me starting a robotics team. So, it all started just from that little one HOA about Hour of Code last year. So thank you. That was awesome. It was really fun.
Love it. That's great.
Thanks, Steve, for running an awesome robotics competition. That was really fun. We had a great time. And your team saved our butts. Did you hear about that?
That's a great intro for Steve.
Yep.
Are you ready, Steve?
Sure.
He's from Yale Intermediate, and his school, Halikula actually got a $10,000 grant last year, and this year it was Iao from the island of Maui. Yay! You're on, Steve.
Okay. Well, I did do a presentation. I don't have a world to show you. That is way above my pay grade right there. So thanks for sharing that. It tells me what I need to be looking at next, so that's a good thing. So let me. I'm not very good at Google Hangouts, so let me see if I can figure this out. I'm gonna share my screen. And let's see, that's the one I want to share. Okay, so you guys are seeing this, right? You're seeing the Hour of Code presentation, right?
Yes.
Okay, and I put a link to it up here. If you want to go there, it's available to you to go and look at. If you want to use that link. And Linda, if you can lead me through how to put this into the
yeah, I don't have your Yeah, I don't have your email, so that's why I couldn't
Okay.
put them in the notes. So let me write that down. It's Eow. Sorry, Eow.
squinnell@eowschool.org.
Oh no, you shouldn't have said that.
Oh, whoops.
That's okay. Hopefully you won't get spammed.
Whoops.
I just wanted the Bitly link so I could put it in.
Oh, it's Eow, HOCPRES for presentation.
Okay. And I'll look back on this Hangout to see what your email is.
Okay.
I think it'll be fine. No, I just don't want you to be.
Okay. Well.
Yeah. Go ahead.
For our dozens of listeners out there, will be great. Let me just share this really quick first. This is my implementation plan. There's a link to this in the presentation. This was the implementation plan that I turned in that eventually got us the $10,000. I don't know how they choose it, but I basically just went through. So those of you who have not won the money yet, you'll know what to do next year. I just went through each day and said, okay, where can we fit this in? And I looked at our schedule and I said, I think it would be best if we ran this through the math classes. And I've been trying to get our math teachers to do something a little more exciting for a while now. And so I kind of applied for this without telling them, and then once we won, then it was time to talk to them about, okay, guess what? As soon as we found out we won, I said, okay, guess what? You guys are doing this. So I just set it up so that we'd be watching the videos, we'd be doing it in the math classes for 3 days so that the teachers would each have time to do at least 1 full hour because our periods are 45 minutes long, and on Wednesdays they're only 30 minutes. And then during recess, we had students up in the library. We had our tech teachers involved and our special ed teachers who are teaching math involved. And then the other things that I added in here, that because I wanted it to be more of a celebration for our whole school, was that I talked to the administration and convinced them that we should use an hour of our teacher planning time or teacher meeting time to do an hour of code with all of our teachers so that they would have the experience of doing it. And then I also, we've been trying to engage our community a little more up at Eow in Wailuku, and so I said, well, it would be good to let parents come in and try the hour of code and bring their students and have their students kind of show them. So those were the things that we did, and that my presentation kind of goes through that. But then down here, I did want to make sure that we hit on important Common Core stuff. And for me, math is really about the mathematical practices. And teaching code last year, these are the 3 that really stood out to me that students really had trouble with, is making sense of problems and persevering. Because that's a big one for our kids, is persevering to solve problems. Attending to precision, that's always a big one, especially at middle school. And then one that is really important in coding is looking for regularity and repeated reasoning. So I included those in the application also. And so whether they judge the merit of your application or if they just pick the names out of a hat, I don't know how they do it, but they chose us, and we were really excited about it, and so we went ahead with it. And so I'll backtrack just a little bit and go through this, and then I'll just answer questions. But last year we did Hour of Code. I did, and then Peter Hansen, who some of you know, if you're from Maui, you know Pete. We did it in our 6th, 7th, and 8th grade technology classes. I also did it. And then I continued on with it because I realized the power of the thinking behind what the kids were doing. So I continued on with it the next semester and had the kids do the K-8 program. And last year, before they even announced that they were giving away money, I had my students already doing the program, and so 27 of them finished the program, and then they announced they were having a competition for anybody that had 27 or I forget how many. I think it was 15 students had to finish the K through 8 program, and 7 of them had to be girls. And so, and if you did that, you got $1,000 from Code.org. And so we managed to do that. I had 27 kids finish, and 15 of those kids were girls. And so I got $1,000 from them last year for my classroom, for my own personal classroom. And there was something else I was going to say about that. I'll think of it in a minute. So that's kind of our background with the Hour of Code. And then this is just a picture from last year. I had some of the students doing Code HS, and that's what this girl is doing with the JavaScript. And then this year, we were awarded the $10,000 for Hawaii. We had 3 parts, which I already talked about. Here's a link to the plan if you want to look at it, to check it out. And please feel free to copy it or do your own thing with it. Use it as a basis for next year, because they're going to give money away again next year, I guess. And then, so the student participation, we had 898 students participated in at least 1 hour. I would say at least half of those students did more than 1 hour. We got Maui Economic Development Board, their Women in Technology program. They provided snacks for everyone who completed the Hour of Code. And they also gave me some $10 gift cards for Coders of the Week that were nominated by the math teachers. And just some pictures. I did some work to try to make it more fun. I blew up the big heads from the posters that we all got, or the ones that were online. We have a big plotter, a plotter at school, a big wide format printer. So I cut out the heads and printed them out and made those big heads just for the assembly. That was kind of fun. These are some more of our kids doing the work, and then these are our Coders of the Week with our big check. We also had some staff participation. Like I said, 48 staff members finished. I have no idea how many finished, because some of them didn't want to share. Some of them did it for about
Adults
20 minutes and then started grading papers, but other ones were really into it. So during our staff meeting, we had everybody doing it. Some people who I had several people tell me they used to do code. They did coding a long time ago, back when we still had things like Fortran and other words that I don't understand. And other teachers, this is an English teacher here, she was so excited every time she completed a puzzle, the room just erupted with her laughter and joy. So it was a lot of fun. And then parent participation. Wednesday and Thursday night, we opened up the computer labs. We had 20 families attend, which is less than I wanted, but it was really great to see the parents and students there working together. And as it worked out, we pretty much used up both of our labs, because with each family, it wasn't just a parent. It was mom and dad and little sister and little brother and older auntie. So it was we had a lot of people in there, and then they all got a chance to get their certificates and take their picture with the big check. So that was kind of where we were with it. The math teachers gained some insights, for sure. A couple of them that have been teaching things like algebra for a long time told me, wow, this is just a really great way to make them stop and think about what they're doing, especially when they get into math, because it becomes pretty apparent the ones that go back and try to figure out the problem rather than just plug in a new block each time. And then the after-school programming, that's gonna be our next big focus, is to get a computer science club. We have a robotics team, and we don't have computer science or coding or anything like they're doing in the elementary schools over there on Oahu, which is really great to see, by the way. I wish we had more of that over here on Maui. So that's a piece we're gonna build up, hopefully starting next semester. We'll see. And then I keep telling them, all of them, there's 10,000 reasons now to learn computer science at our school. So, and we have several students that are really interested in it. It's just a matter of time of somebody being able to put it all together and to spend the time after school doing it with them. Because we just integrated a new online math curriculum, we're going to have a hard time pushing it into math, which is where I think it should be for us anyway, is in math. I looked at the science. I don't know if any of you have seen Project Guts, growing up thinking scientifically, but it is one of the Code.org partnerships where they learn how to do computer science within the context of real science, of life science, I think, or actually I think it's multi-level. So, and I approached a teacher about that, but he's already got his plate full with several other things. So trying to integrate it into our daily curriculum is probably not going to happen right away, so getting it into our after-school is probably the best. And then we have some videos that are pretty rough right now. It's just all of the video that we took compressed into one video, and we're going to put together a 5-minute, as soon as we can get some kids to edit what we have into a 5-minute video that goes over that kind of wraps up what we did last week. So, and for us, what we mostly focused on is, since the math teachers were really tentative going into it, the math teacher was really tentative going into it, so I didn't want to force them into anything. I stopped in with each of them a couple times during the week just to see how things were going, and they were usually sitting at their desk trying to do the hour of code themselves when I went in their rooms. So they were into it. They said that their kids were really engaged. Even one of the new teachers at our school this year said, I've been having trouble with fourth period all year long, and during this week I have had no trouble with them whatsoever. So I think it was Shane who said something about the engagement piece, where the principal came by and they were loud, but they were all engaged in what they were doing. And that's really, between that and the thinking, that's what it's really about, I think, anyway. So the students pretty much, all the 6th graders started with the basic Angry Birds code, or with the ELSA code, and then the 7th graders, because all of them did it last year, were starting in different places, and we just kind of let them do what they wanted to do. So overall, it was fun. It was a really good, feel-good week for us. I think we needed some fun time at our school because of all the stuff that's keeps coming down from the top. So we had a lot of fun with it, and the kids had a lot of fun with it, and that's I think that's about all I have to say for now, but I'd love to answer some questions if anybody has any.
Any questions of Steve?
Steve, do you know how you're going to spend your money? What devices you'll purchase?
I was hoping to ask you guys how you spent your money, and then that would give me some more ideas.
Oh, go ahead.
I don't want to just buy a cart of computers. That's just, we have a lot of computers at our school. We're fortunate in that respect. So, trying to figure out something.
At our point, we still needed, I think, some computers, so I decided to go with Chromebooks because we got much more for our money with Chromebooks.
Yeah.
And because we're a Google Apps school, it's been really helpful to have. And we also got some Nexus 7 tablets, just thinking that it would enable students to be mobile and to capture data as they move around in the world. We thought we could do lots of things with it. And actually, we're happy with both of those purchases. But
good.
Yeah, I know what you mean too. You want to think about the other technology that's available and how, what you can incorporate best. But congratulations, I'm really happy for you. Yeah.
It was so fun to see all the promotional material in your photos, and in fact, I know one of the girls that was holding up the face, Tasia.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Tasia. I
Oh,
know
yeah.
pretty well. Yeah, so that was really cool. I said, "Wow, that's Tasia." So yeah, I'm really proud. You do us proud on Maui. We're really happy to hear all of
Thanks.
that.
Thanks. I was
Really,
kind of sad that it wasn't in the papers or anything. I mean, that we
yeah.
didn't get any press out of it, which was a little frustrating,
You
but
know, I wanted to ask you that because last year they had told us that the media would come. In fact, we had a big celebration where Abercrombie and Matayoshi came, and many legislators, and even Lieutenant Governor came. But at the last minute, the media didn't come because there was food poisoning at another elementary school, and that's where they all went instead. And I just thought that was so horrible. And even this year, you know, we reached out to, well, actually, I put the link in the show notes, Linda. One of the communications people for DOE wrote a really nice article that featured some DOE schools and how they were doing the Hour of Code. And I think, Steve, it was before the announcement was made, so I don't know if she's updated the article to include you. But, you know, we didn't get any publicity out of it. And even how Rachel led the kids through the hangout, you know, that's a really incredible thing. And what I was so disappointed by is one of the local media stations here on Oahu did a clip on the Hour of Code, and they went to a Honolulu school, and the newscaster said this. She said, "Students at this school played video games today," and I was so upset. So I kept asking my students, "Are we playing video games?" And they said, "No, we are programming. It's a language." And I just was so frustrated. I even tweeted that news station and got no reply. But I'm grouchy about that because, you know what, there are great things happening in public schools, and it's not being noticed. Except shout out to Shane because I was really glad to see your Hawaii Public Radio piece, and I did put the link for that in Linda's show notes also. I just was disappointed, Shane, that they cut out your shout out to Halikula.
They did. I mean,
They did.
you
Where
know,
was it?
actually, you know, what was interesting about that, and you know, I know that Molly had a guidelines of what she was able to do and such, but she spent an hour with us, you know, and she didn't just ask me a question and ask one or two kids and okay, I'm done, I'm gonna walk out. No, she actually was down there with the kids, crouched down, learning, you know, what they were doing and asking them questions. Like she had never seen Hour of Code before, which was really great. You know, I just wish that they could have done a longer piece so we could have explained more better what was happening. Because I mean, in 3 minutes, how can you really tell, you know, what Halikula has done, what Momilani's done, what Yao's done, right? It's just not enough to explain what code can bring to the table. So.
No, that's true. And actually, folks should listen to her piece because it's what I love about public radio. I think, and you can tell she was right down there with them. I love that you pointed that out. And I was really impressed with, I felt like I was there in your lab with the kids, and that's what I love about public radio. So, no, real shout out to Molly Solomon. So, Linda, that link is in the show notes.
Great, and shout out to you, Michelle, because Michelle has been populating that the notes for us, and it's available at bit.ly/grh59 notes, and we'll put that in the YouTube as well. And Steve's presentation will be on there too, and so great that you shared everything that you did, Steve, from the proposal. I mean, you're right. I think people who are wanting to be funded next year should look at what you've done because it's really, and I can see that a lot of thought went into it. You know, why are we doing this? Those three things.
I really like,
awesome.
Just to add on to what Linda is saying, sorry Linda, I think, Steve, I love how you involved the teachers and the community, the parents, and I think that's key. And you know, actually I did put that in my proposal last year as well. We had the teachers involved. We also reached out to our military partnership and had soldiers come in and help the youngest students with the Hour of Code. I had tried to get our battalion that actually does computer programming, but they weren't able to come. So that's something we could still work on for the future. But I think that's kind of what Code.org is trying to do, too, is to spread that message that we need to get computer coding into our schools. So we're not scrambling to squeeze it in, you know, into the tech lab or math or like Shane, like you were saying, in your time and not in the teacher's time. because it is a curriculum that is, Australia has a curriculum, and England, and I think I heard even China, Estonia, and then more and more states have it. So it's kind of we need to have some more public service announcements, I think.
Yeah. Did anyone? There was a graphic in the code.org, one of the resources. There was a graphic that showed that there were something like 1,100 unfilled computer science jobs in Hawaii last year, and only 137 computer science graduates in the state of Hawaii last year. So it was, when I saw that, I was blown away. And one of the things that our partner here on Maui Economic Development Board and STEMworks, what they do is they try to, their message is you can get a high-paying job and stay in Hawaii. And you don't have to, if you're one of the, if you want a good paying job, you don't have to go to the mainland. There are lots of jobs here that you can do because you don't get that message. At least a lot of our kids don't get that message. They think they can go work in the resorts, or they can, or they can go to the mainland. And so it's interesting. And just one last piece, just because I'm still kind of angry about the whole press thing. Shan Tsutsui daughter goes to our school, and he didn't even come. So
I'm sorry, but he was busy with that inauguration. Wasn't that inauguration week or something?
It was the week after. That was the week before. We asked him. We reached out to him on so many different levels because a lot of the ladies at our school know him and his family because he lives in Wailuku. So. He was busy, and I believe it. But we had as many lawmakers as we could have at our ceremony. The mayor wasn't able to come, but still, it just was, it wasn't just me reaching out either. We had Maui Economic Development Board reaching out with their media team, and we just didn't get any press.
What a shame! That is a real shame.
All right, I'm done venting about that now.
Okay. Needed to be said.
Steve, I actually have a quick question too. Sorry, I know we're running a little bit late here. You said that you had some women coders that you reached out to that spoke to the girls. Michelle and I are also looking at starting a girls coding club during my lunchtime. Would you be willing to share? Are those local people that you had them hang out with, or?
Well, it's actually the Maui Economic Development Board has they have a subdivision or whatever you want to call it called Women in Technology, and their focus is on women in technology, not specifically on coding, but in all high-tech stuff. And Evelyn is a big she's one of the teachers that's trained and does a lot of work with them. So it's not specifically about coding. And there's not really a group of women that come and do stuff. It's just a program called Women in Technology, and they provide they do a lot of fundraising to get science STEM tools into kids' hands and training for teachers. So, but it's a middle school and high school program only right now, but it is statewide. So that's where it is right now. So.
Okay, thank you.
I don't have anything else.
Okay. I was just thinking, Michelle and I and Linda, we should all be part of that group.
You should, yeah.
Right.
I can give you the name of the person to contact. I'll email it to Linda. Linda, you know about STEMworks, don't you?
I do, a little bit. Yeah. Do you have any advice for us, Evelyn, on how we can?
Well, there's quite a few initiatives anymore with girls. There's the Google's. There's a Girls Who Code Club. I'm a member. I teach one of those. There's another Google initiative. It's Made with Code that is focused toward girls, but contacting MEDB, because since they are statewide, they have something called MentorNet. So, and I don't know if they have contacts on every island. Young women, college women that maybe perhaps come and talk to your girls or talk to your classes.
That's what's happening at our school. Not too many girls, lots of boys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we definitely need to push in that direction. Our celebration, by the way, was quite grassroots this week. I didn't have any integration. Everything was library centered, so we basically grabbed people to come in and do presentations. We had some challenges. The entire school didn't participate. We didn't register. But I kind of liked it because it really reflected our community, because the kids stepped up and said, oh, I'll do a challenge, or let me check that out. I even did a little drawing, so very small scale, but I think for us it was fun, considering the last minute of the librarian, last minuteness of the librarian. It turned out pretty good. Anybody else want to add? We're actually kind of not up to an hour because we started a little late, so don't worry too much about running out of time. But anybody have anything additional to say?
Yeah, Linda, I always have more to say. And I guess if anybody's watching who hasn't tried code.org yet, I would recommend creating accounts for the kids, because we were just so impressed with how they made it very user-friendly, first of all, to make student accounts and for kids to log in. For the really little ones, the kindergartners, they click on their name and they click on their picture and they're in and they can take off. And the other thing we did is we buddied up 5th and 4th graders with kindergartners, and it was really neat because it was the first time the kindergartners were using, the trackpad on the computer. They're used to actually the separate mouse usually, but they zoomed through the levels. They had a lot of fun with it, and I think that's great. And then because they can log in at home now, they're continuing it at home. And code.org also, the other things, I noticed a few new things that I hadn't seen last year. I might have just missed them. But after a student created something, they could share it via social media. And because our kids are not yet 13, they don't have social media. But I shared it for them, or I posted it on the library website. So I put that in the show notes also. And then after we shared, like one boy coded, instead of coding Flappy, he coded a shark. And it was really cute because code.org has taken those familiar games to kids and then allowed them to code it, to remix it, to kind of change it up. And the other thing that students could do is once one student posted something, another student could, like in Scratch, look behind it and see the coding, and they could adjust the numbers or adjust the the repetitions. I'm saying the wrong words, but anyway, I think if you go in there, you'll see. And some kids really loved that. So there's just lots of freedom and means for differentiation. And then Jan Lee, the librarian at Pearl, where is she? Pearl Highlands. She was telling me too what we had seen, and that's that she really felt that code.org was giving all students a chance to excel or succeed. It's not just the kids who are academically talented. Sometimes it's the kids who are willing to try things. And I know Shane had mentioned before too the grit and the perseverance, and kids who are not afraid of failing, just willing to try. So I love that about the tutorials.
Just on that same comment Michelle had there, one of my most successful kids isn't one of my most highly academic kids. He finished the two code programs we had set up for him, which was one of the courses, and then of course the Code Monkey. Finished them before anybody had even finished the first one. Got up, started walking around and helping out the other kids on, oh, this is what you should try, and this. Where was this kid the entire year? All of a sudden he pops out of nowhere when we do coding.
It's so empowering too. Isn't that neat? I love that. And actually I think that's exactly the kind of classroom environment we should have. Rachel's getting worried that I'm going to stand on my political soapbox now. I'm not going to, but it was just powerful learning. So I'm so appreciative of code.org setting this up for us.
Neat. And I wanted to point out the show notes because they are full. Thank you so much again, Michelle, for setting it up. I am going to add something there, but lovely show notes that people can check out afterwards. So much appreciated. Michelle. And anything else? Love the show because I love the sharing and the fact that all of the schools did something different, and to have Evelyn come on and give us an overall view of code.org, that was fantastic. Yeah, so anyone want to add anything?
Linda, I just want to add that there's also a workshop at Kihei Charter High School on January 24th. So if somebody could put that in the show notes too, January 24th.
Okay, and that's open to
K-5 teachers, tech coordinators, after-school computer program coordinators, pretty much anybody but parents.
Okay.
Evelyn,
Sounds
is there
great.
a different link for that one? Is it different from the email? Okay, so if you want to email me, I can put it in.
Very good. Will do.
Sounds great. Okay, wonderful, wonderful show. Crowdsourced, I love it. Alrighty, so I guess we're at the end, unless anyone has anything else to say. Thank you all for coming. Steve, Shane, Rachel, Michelle, Jody, Holly, and Evelyn. I love a full house. In fact, let me do something. I'm going to do not a picture, but I'm going to do a screenshot. So everybody smile. Got it. Okay, so without further ado, we'll say aloha for now. We're going to take a two-week respite to enjoy the holiday. And so everybody have a great vacation, we hope. And we'll see you next year. Take care.
Thank you, Linda.
Aloha. Aloha. Thanks for coming on, everyone.